Okay, well, we got a front yard grown over by those low bushes, or what used to be bushes. Thought process is just kind of take the tooth bar and go in there and see if we can't, hit it and pop them up that way. We got chains and pallet forks if we have to start, really pulling on stuff. But the thought would be simply just take it and rip at it with the tooth bar. Yeah, it's not a big job, but definitely thick. She thick. So let's go try and tame the wild bush. This morning I already took out a section of fence so we can get right to the dumpster. I think it's going to be all of 10 yards in the dumpster, but should have a nice easy path from the front, right over to right there. Alrighty, here we go. So yeah, we started on it. The problem we hit landscape plastic and rocks galore. When I came through and looked at it the first time, it's just solid bush. I couldn't really see the subsoil. I knew we had rock close to the house, but on the sides, the back, the three other corners, it was only, 3 feet away from the house. Made an assumption, didn't think this whole area is going to be rock. Turns out, yeah, it kind of is. We started hitting it with the tooth bucket and everything is going fine right up until, we saw all this stuff. So changing plans, changing site conditions, anytime you go off your own property onto someone else's property, there's a risk. I do have a gas line. We do have it marked. But it's buried underneath, stuff that has to get out of here. So spoke with the client. The new plan is today we're going to just clean up all the vegetation, try to get that up into the dumpster, probably get another dumpster and start the excavation of rock. So slight deviation, change in conditions, very common. So glad I can show you what it's like when you go off your property with your equipment and try to go tackle for hire work. You got Pandora's box that can happen, like that. Easily the vegetation's a 10-yard dumpster. Easily the rock more than will fill a 10-yard dumpster. The problem is when you get into rock, most of the roll-off companies that I deal with in the city of Minneapolis, it's 10-yard max for concrete, rock, soil, that kind of stuff. They'll only give you a 10-yard dumpster. So we're going to try to get one 10-yard dumpster of vegetation. The client's going to call for another dumpster for the rock. One thing that I learned in a few years of business, I can upcharge a dumpster. I kind of give that back to the client. Swing sets get put in there and I get fined. There's drop fees. There's 15 million things. It's hard for me to control my cost unless I just go sky high. Good and bad. So I limit my risk exposure. I can lower the bill. Now the risk comes back to the client. Not every client has that level of risk, and some of them say, no, Bulldog, I want you to handle everything. I don't want to, be a general contractor to you, and then to a dumpster company, and then to, if another company has to come in also. So there's good and bad, but that's a risk. If you want, to decrease the cost on removal, on debris removal, you have to accept risk. Well, here's a risk. We're not going to have enough dumpsters. It's a weekend. It is what it is. We're in it to win it. But let's get that tooth bar. Let's let her eat. So that's one neat thing that I've learned with the tooth bar. If you put like an impact socket on it and you rattle it on and you secure it pretty good, back dragging with vegetation, little buckthorn stumps, stuff like that, works really well. Not only can bulldoze into it and try to lift and pull, that kind of stuff. Try back dragging with the teeth down in there to pull up vegetation, roots, branches, stuff like that. It's pretty handy. That's a big scoop, and that came from that quick back drag. Yeah, handy. See if we can't come up and back drag and pull this out away from the fence, or at least kind of get close to pulling it away. See what that looks like. Perfect. So that was the first pass. And we're right over our flag for natural gas. We just wiped out our, whoa. We got a crater. We got a wall. Let's go get it. balling up on me now. All right. All right, we got a little, if it doesn't pull away. Come on. Ah! I think it's time for a grapple. I think it's time for a grapple. Let's try this. Hey, that'll work. That'll work. If it worked once, let's try it again. Close the gate, get as close as I can. Yeah, hopefully I can get not too entirely kittywampus, just a little bit of kittywampus. Dang it. What do you think? I think we can split break it. Oh. Yeah, we got a little load. That'll work. Yeah. All right. So basically, where we're at is pretty significant change in conditions. We're gonna have to come back a different day, I guess, and tackle a rock removal job, which was out of scope for today because neither client nor contractor knew there were the entire area covered in rocks. So we went back to the smooth bucket, and we're just going to try to make it look not like a construction zone. And when we get another dumpster, then we'll start doing that excavation. So that's where we're at. Well, and there we have it for today. We thought we'd come out, rip out bushes, till it, like grading, seed it, cultipack it, off to the next one. Change in conditions. It's just way too much rock in here to do anything. It's a whole nother day of excavating rock. Then import topsoil to get our elevation back, and then we can seed it and cultipack it, and then we can call it a day. That's risk sharing. I told the client I think it's only one dumpster. It's going to be two. Well, now it's 2 days. I didn't hard bid it. I just bid it for that portion.
Let's pause right there. So that's a big deal. What you could do is you could bid all of the vegetation removal and put in a line item for, a dumpster, and then keep putting in, different line items. And what you can get is a unit of measure and a breakdown, and you can keep going with a project. What that really is, it's all change orders. Instead of one dumpster, now you're going to two dumpsters. Instead of, a couple hours to remove bushes, now you have a couple hours to remove bushes. Then you have a couple hours to remove rocks. Then you have a couple hours to import topsoil and keep adding line items. And then you would have a turnkey project. I didn't do it that way, and I don't think that that's right on a small 200 square foot project. I bid it by the task, and we're going to take it as a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. How this project was bid was 4 hours of tractor work with an extra line item for seed material. Contractor responsible for 3 hours of vegetation removal, 1 hour of seed prep and installation. Client responsible for the dumpster and removal of all debris. So me, the contractor, billed the client 3 hours. I took 1 hour off because we never got to seeding. Again, it wasn't a hard bid, all-in, turnkey project proposal. This was more of a hybrid T&M, time and materials. Here's what this line item, that's what a client's going to look at. They're just going to look at the line item for total cost. Here's what this total cost will get you. If the project changes, well, then we're going to have to look at it for phase 1, phase 2. But on a T&M, don't shock your client if you have, changing conditions and you need to double or triple your bid, it's not going to go over well on a small project. And as a contractor, I'm not going to self fund somebody else's project. I'm not going out there trying to buy a project. This is how I share risk with the client.
And I don't want to get into change orders. I just want to, close it out, say this is where we're at, and then, rebid it if I win second phase.
A quick review here. This is what it looked like when both myself and the client looked at it and discussed ripping out the bushes. Neither one of us knew what was below grade and would be requiring, a second day and a second dumpster.